My earliest memory of a nightmare turned out to be a real break-in by some creep who was after my sister. So the title sounds like a no-sleep story, and that's the first thing I thought when I first found this out about 2 months ago. I've been busy dealing with the aftermath of a family tragedy since then, but now that things are returning to a new normal, I figure it's a good time to share. I'm sorry in advance for any formatting issues. I'm on my phone. Buckle in, this is a long one. First, I'll describe the nightmare. It's a very short dream, and like I said, it's a very clear memory just because of how scary it was. I was about 4 or 5 years old, perhaps 6 at most, and my twin brother and I had a bunk bed in a room at the furthest end of the house we grew up in. The nightmare had me in my bed, looking out the window to see a red sky, the kind that appears in the early dawn hours before sunrise, when light still colors the sky. The next and only other thing I remember from this nightmare is that a man with crazy blue-colored eyes and a bald head appears at the window and stares right at me. The nightmare ends there, but I remember